Opportunity then to assess the progress that the two Englishmen are making at Inter. Roy Hodgson's arrival in Milan has been a relative success so far, and Paul Ince, for all the continued rumours, the counter-rumours concerning his future, well, he's concentrating doggedly on the task of improving his and his team's fortunes. But today, it's surely going to be very tough against this Fiorentina side, who remain formidable at home, 5 wins out of 5 so far. There are many, though, who feel that while they are still churning out the results consistently here in the Renaissance City, Fiorentina's high league placing may be a false one. Other than victory over a leg-weary Lazio, they've not really been too convincing. And, of course, away from Florence, well, their form is a constant disappointment on a far more worrying scale. Well, nevertheless, they are 4th in the table, Fiorentina. And coach Raniero has almost a full-strength squad to choose from. Batistuta and Baiano are the two front men, augmented by midfield, which includes Rui Costa and Stefan Schwartz, the former Arsenal man, who's recovered from flu to retain his place in the side. 3 of the backline are newcomers this season: Amoruso, Padalino and Serena. Behind them, Toldo is now regarded as one of the top 3 Italian goalkeepers by the national coach, Arrigo Sacchi. Well, Roy Hodgson's first act on taking up his post with Inter then was to change the formation. It's 4-4-2 now, with Ince a central figure in midfield in harness with Frazee, who's been moved out of the sweeper role. Branca, the new signing from Roma, is partnered up front by Gantz, with Carbone in support. The other foreigners in the team joining Ince are Zanetti, the Argentine, and the exciting fullback from Brazil, Roberto Carlos. Inter then unbeaten under the new coach and seeking their first away win of the Serie A season today. They arrive here with the best defensive record in the league, along with Napoli, but have managed just 3 goals in their previous away games. And it's really in that department that Roy Hodgson knows his team have to improve if the campaign is to be in any way a rewarding one. No shortage of goals again from Fiorentina as usual. Only Lazio have scored more so far. The same scenario, of course, as for last season. Batistuta, 26 from him in the last campaign, only 4 so far in Serie A, so he hasn't been firing on all his cylinders, but nonetheless he remains a potent force up front for Fiorentina. Well, a potent force in his day was Luther Bissett, who's alongside me in the commentary box today. Luther, your thoughts on the afternoon ahead?
Good afternoon, Peter, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this afternoon because obviously Batistuta has been a prolific goal scorer over the last couple of seasons, and I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully get another goal today. When looking over on the Inter side, now they've got Gantz in that team, and also they've got now Branco. So, you know, I think we'll see some goals obviously from them as well. So forward-wise, I'll think probably Fiorentina's probably just got the edge on them because of home advantage with Batistuta.
Got a glimpse there of, well, there's Roy Hodgson watching down on the sidelines. We saw there Pagliuca, who's lost his place, of course, in the national team for Italy, out of favour with Arrigo Sacchi, which he says himself did concern him for some time. He lost his confidence, lost his composure, but he hopes to have retained it now. As has Rui Costa, who has had his differences with Ranieri, the coach, over the past week or so. Rui Costa, who's been substituted 7 times in Serie A so far this season, and was certainly unhappy at having to go off in the match last weekend when he showed his dissent to the coach, but he's put that behind him now. Got his apology in, and he'll be hoping to be their inspiration in midfield this afternoon. Rui Costa, the Portuguese international. This is Frazee backpedaling for Inter with Coes of Fiorentina. Now Carbone, who's been a regular in the team, indeed an ever-present since Hodgson took over, having barely had a look in under Bianchi, the former coach who was dismissed after just 4 games in charge for this season. Forward by Bergami, the veteran defender. Fiorentina 4th in Serie A, Inter in 9th place. Milan, of course, the leaders, along with Parma on 21, Lazio on 19, Fiorentina on 18, Juve and Napoli on 17. They're the top clubs at the moment in Serie A. The big game, of course, is this evening, Parma against Juventus, and you can see highlights of that in Mezzanotte on Tuesday night. Milan this afternoon are at home to Piacenza, and Lazio away to Vicenza. We'll keep you posted on what's happening in those games. The header on by Batistuta towards his front-running partner Baiano. Good interception though by Festa, one of the two central defenders for Inter, alongside Paganin. They've started with Zanetti on the left, it would seem, and Carbone on the right, so that's a change for Inter this afternoon. Carbone, certainly for the second half last week when Gats came on, operated just behind the front two, but it's a wide role for him at the moment. Very talented young player, Carbone. Signed in the summer from Napoli. This is Amoruso. Fiorentina so strong at home. Narrowly beaten last week by Juventus, although the score was certainly very much in, or the result was very much in Juve's favour. They were the better team. Schwarz, Serena. Off goes Rui Costa. Sturdy defending though by Festa. And it's a throw to Fiorentina, which Carbone didn't think it was. Batistuta trying to thread it on towards Baiano. And referee Quintalange has blown for the foul. Down goes Batistuta, and it was Ince who was biting into the tackle then. His form has certainly picked up since the arrival of Hodgson, Paul Ince. After all the stories that he may well be coming home, with Arsenal it would seem the favourites come the end of the season. For the moment, his only thoughts are on guiding his team further up the table. He's been getting a better press too in the last few weeks, which is good news for him. As you know, Luther, if the media turns against you out there, you've got real problems.
That's right, yeah, and obviously the media have been wanting Paul Ince to be doing all the things that he did for Manchester United in the last few seasons, and obviously it hasn't really come off. But hopefully with the arrival of Roy Hodgson, then I hope to start to see it happening soon for him.
Bump Serena for a throw then to Inter. Roy Hodgson himself has been quick to assert himself in the Italian game, having been so successful, of course, as coach of the Swiss national team, who is guided through to the European Championship finals. Ince with a header. Here's Serena, the former Sampdoria player. Very much a utility man. He's already filled various roles for his new club, having switched his allegiance in the close season. Paralino, another new man with Fiorentina. Now he's having to chase back. Gats. Lovely little reverse pass sent to Roberto Carlos, who's very, very quick. But his cross into the side netting.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because that really was a good opportunity. I mean, a lovely little back heel to him, and he did evade the tackle, but disappointingly he put the ball in the side netting. If he got it across, I'm sure we'd have seen a striking goal, which probably would have been, the first goal of the game.
Had such an exciting start, of course, to his Inter career, Roberto Carlos. Scored their first 4 goals of the season, but he hasn't managed one for a few weeks now. Frese's header. 27 there is Branca. Ince getting involved.
Yeah, I think that's going to be quite a feature of it. I think with the new 4-4-2, we're going to see a lot more of Paul Ince getting stuck in and actually causing a few problems there in that midfield for the opposition.
He's had a back problem during the week, Paul Ince, which had made him doubtful for the game. I think Carbone has maybe similar discomfort at the moment. But right until the last couple of hours or so, we weren't sure whether Ince was going to play. There's the foul by Serena on Carbone. Frese taking the free kick, and the shot from Gats. Toldo lost it. First to react was Marco Branca, who was hurt in the process as he collided there with Serena. Very, very quick off the mark, Branca.
I think it might have been the goalkeeper that actually caught him a bit late. But, I mean, really, the goalkeeper really should have held this, shouldn't he? I mean, it didn't look that difficult a chance. And as he slid in for it, I think he just caught him there.
So, Branca having to receive some attention here. He made an immediate impact, of course, in his first game last week, scoring against his former club, Udinese, on his debut for Inter. Very nomadic figure, Marco Branca. He's played for various clubs, Fiorentina among his previous ones. Here's Coes. Serena. And it spins away off Festa. Kaliuka can't keep it in. Corner then to Fiorentina. And I'm just hearing that Milan have taken the lead at home to Piacenza. And the scorer is Savicevic, the man from Montenegro. Batistuta lurking in the middle. Amoruso has come up from the back. He's always a menace on these set pieces. It's Rui Costa taking the kick. Confidently fisted away, though, by Pagliuca. Serena it was who fired it back in. Piacentini. Away by Paganin. Rui Costa. This is Carnashali. Now Bayardo. Linking well with Carnashali. We'll see a lot of him raiding down that right side. Batistuta almost on the end of it. Hooked away by Carbone. But only as far as Serena. And he's driven it wide. But a positive opening from Fiorentina.
Yeah, definitely there. You know, a good little break down the right-hand side there. And I mean, a fine shot at the end. I mean, disappointed really that he didn't actually strike the target, but it's good to see now the crosses are coming in and there's a bit more goal-mouth incidents happening.
13 goals from their first 5 games at home in Serie A so far this season, Fiorentina. Serena. Batistuta, Coes in support. Now Serena. Appeal for free kick. Nothing given, though. Alfredo Trentalange just turning away. The referee is Paganin. Good tackle then by Schwartz. Bayardo's on his way. At least he was, and that will be a free kick this time. Bayardo sent tumbling to the ground, and it's going to be a yellow card for Paganin.
In a dangerous position, this free kick, because I think now we'll see Stefan Schwartz here now. We all know how well he can strike the ball from his little period in England playing for Arsenal. So I should imagine he'll be lining this one up.
Yes, Batistuta has walked away, so he's taking no interest in it. Amoruso is another man who can strike the ball somewhat venomously from distance, but this could well be within range for Stefan Schwartz. A bit of a mixed start, really, since his move to Florence. Schwartz, he's been booked several times, sent off as well. He's such a volatile character, but as Arsenal fans will testify, an excellent footballer as well. Rui Costa hovering over the ball. Schwartz in attendance alongside him. Here is Schwartz. Wasn't a bad effort either. It was tremendous pace, but over the bar from Schwartz.
I don't think it really bothered Pagliuca in any way at all. I think he had that covered and knew it was safe one.
Pagliuca has kept 5 clean sheets so far this season. Again, Inter very strong defensively, as they were in the last campaign. It's really a question of scoring a few more goals to lift themselves up the table. Here's Ince, or rather it was Roberto Carlos. Now Marco Branca. Seems to be okay after his little incident earlier on when he was injured. And plucked out of the air with consummate ease at Maitoldo. He's the tallest goalkeeper in Serie A at around 6'6". On by Amoruso to Schwartz. Now Coes. Schwartz has continued his run. Released by Festa. And it was a rather tame cross in the end from the Swedish international.
He started quite well, Stefan Schwartz, hasn't he? I mean, he's been involved in quite a few of their movements so far, which is far more than I've seen him in many a game.
Fiorentina looking for their first win over Inter in Serie A for almost 7 years. This is Branca now. And that's deflected off Serena. For a corner to Inter, who are certainly playing with more buoyancy, more confidence than we saw them displaying earlier in the season.
Yeah, I think the playing with the 4-4-2 now has really helped them, because it's got players in positions where they can stop the opponents getting at them a little bit, and it gives them a base also to break from, and it seems to be that's the way they're playing it.
And I'm sure it's a system that Paul Ince will prefer. Paganini has come up for the kick. Frazee in there too. And Festa. Roberto Carlos with the kick. Toldo has stayed on his line. And that flicked off the head then of Amoruso. And Zanetti leaving the throw for Roberto Carlos. That's a very long throw. Up towards Frazee. Got his header on too. And then touched off to Ince. And the shot is charged down. Here's Batistuta. Serena. Plenty of industry from Carbone. And it'll be a goal kick to Fiorentina.
The number of players there they had in it from that long throw. I mean, they had 3 players in and around the penalty spot at Inter, and there's only 1 defender. So, I mean, really, they probably should have made a little bit more of it than they did.
Strong challenge by Batistuta, but here's Bergomi. Seems to run around so long, Bergomi, but he's only 31. It's his 431st Serie A appearance this afternoon. And very much, of course, a one-club man. Carnasciali. Baiano. Cheekily away from Ince, Rui Costa. And Batistuta caught offside.
Held their line well there, didn't they, Inter? Obviously, they've got a few little things sorted out now, playing this new system. And it worked superbly there.
The best defence in Serie A this season, remember, along with Napoli, just 7 conceded in the first 10 outings. Carbone. Branca had gone the other way. Easily came then by Toldo. And that's what you call Route 1, up towards Batistuta. Festa getting the better of it.
Yeah, a lot of players been a bit of Route 1 at the moment, haven't they? There's a lot of forward balls being played in from both teams. You know, and when the game settles down a bit, we'll see more of the usual Italian stuff where the ball's been knocked about looking for the opening, but it's all a bit direct at the moment.
Serena with a throw. Batistuta to Schwarz. Now Rui Costa. Cheeky play then from Schwarz. Rui Costa threading it on. It's a chance. Baiano. Good save by Pagliuca, who stood his ground, got his angles right. A swift and incisive piece of attacking play then from Fiorentina.
All come about after the little dummy from Schwarz, and the ball played in, and I mean, really, it was a fine strike, wasn't it? Great position from the goalkeeper.
Baiano, who hasn't really been showing his best form this season. Certainly not the form we remember from his Foggia days and his early time with Fiorentina before he had a long-term injury. And he's another one who's fallen foul of the coach this season. Strong run by Roberto Carlos. Carnasciali was the player who brought him down. That's going to be a caution for him. And no real argument about that one, Luther.
No, I think, I mean, really, if there hadn't been another defender there, you would have probably seen him walking for that one.
So fleet of foot, Roberto Carlos. He's left him trailing in his wake then. And Carnasciali, well, he felt anyway, no other course of action than to send him flying.
Well, I think you better be careful now, because obviously he's going to be raiding up that side time and time again, so he's going to have to be careful he doesn't make another foul on him.
Now is Roberto Carlos going to have a strike at goal from here? Certainly wouldn't put it past him. Most of those early goals came from long-range free kicks. Here's another one now. Didn't really get hold of that one, though. That was more like one of yours, Luther, that one.
That was a lot harder than one of mine.
It was a lot closer, too. Carnasciali. Baiano. Still Carnasciali. Batistuta and Coes in the middle. Didn't get any distance, though, on the cross, Carnasciali. But plenty of attacking raids down both flanks from the fullbacks. Branca. Roberto Carlos. Rather too direct then on that occasion.
That's right, a little bit straight. strikes the ball so well. I mean, there was hardly any backlift at all on that one.
Rui Costa. Easily cut out there by Festa. Now Fresi. He's had to vacate the sweeper role as they push him up into midfield. That was a fine pass too. There's a chance here. Chipped over, told on a goal from Getz. Maurizio Getz has struck for Inter on 16 minutes. And he took it so well, so coolly.
Absolutely superb, wasn't it? There might have been a hint of him being offside on it, but I mean, his one touch and then the finish was absolutely superb.
And all credit there to Fresi for his vision in releasing him. It's Skatz's first goal from open play. His two previous goals this season were both from the penalty spot. There's Fresi with a through pass.
And there might just have been a hint of offside there. Oh, full credit for the way he finished it though, wasn't it superb?
And the giant figure of Toldo couldn't quite get back in time. He cheekily lobbed it over him. He was always struggling from there, Toldo. With his less favoured right foot too, Getz. His first touch was good enough, and the second very positive indeed from his right foot. So in to have the lead. Only the fourth goal they've scored away from home in Serie A this season.
This will be a test now to see how Fiorentina to deal with this. I mean, they've been scoring goals, but now to go a goal behind at home, you know, and they've really got it all to do. Because they started quite brightly, but Inter really, to be fair, has not been put off by it. They've kept at the work, and, you know, they've got great rewards for it.
Schwartz underneath this one for Fiorentina. Now Rui Costa. Here's Serena. Too easily read though by Branca. The pass that was intended for Schwartz. Baiano nipping in. Dispossessed though by Zanetti. He's having an excellent season for Inter. His first, of course, since his move from Argentina, the Banfield club. On by Piacentini to Baiano. Schwartz. Now Coes. Plenty of movement here from Fiorentina. But Inter's defence standing firm. Carbone. Outmanoeuvring Serena. Interesting piece of skill then from Festa. You see that too often.
That's right. I don't think the coach exactly would have been exactly over thrilled with him doing that in such a position. But Carbone in the first instance there, as the ball dropped over his head to bring it down, was a great bit of skill and great confidence.
Oh, neat touch then from Batistuta. Rui Costa. Baiano had drifted out wide, but it was a tentative pass from Rui Costa. Does seem to be lacking in confidence this season. Such a talented player. And very much a central figure too in the Portuguese national team, who of course will be in England next summer for the European Championship finals. Ince. Still hoping to be in the England squad. Terry Venables has neglected to pick him so far since his move to Italy. Which I know has disappointed Paul a great deal, but he'll be hoping to win his place back in time for the finals. Serena's throw for Fiorentina. Now Rui Costa. So much is channeled through him for Fiorentina. But he's failed to link up with Baiano again. 20 minutes gone in the first half, and Inter have the lead thanks to Maurizio Getz, their new man this season from Atalanta. Certainly a player who's taken on a new lease of life, Maurizio Getz, since the arrival of Hodgson. Only had a sniff at goal in the early matches when Bianchi was in charge. Of course, he's been a regular and prolific scorer for Atalanta, their top scorer for 3 consecutive seasons. Off Coes, falls for Fresi. Amaruso with the clearance. Met firmly though by Paganin. This is Piacentini. Carnashali. Now Schwartz. Seems to have a roaming role in midfield. Piacentini. Too long though for Schwartz. Fresi, who started very impressively in midfield. Roberto Carlos. Now Zanetti. just about the one player who's been consistent throughout the season so far. Zanetti, even when Bianchi was in charge. Rui Costa. Maybe a bit harsh that one, I thought, from Zanetti.
Yeah, both teams at the moment seem to be giving the ball away. They're getting 2 or 3 passes together and then giving it away. There's no real... nobody's able to build anything at the moment.
But certainly a bright opening by Inter. That was their first win last week under Roy Hodgson, when they overcame Udinese, and they've threatened to build on it so far this afternoon. Carnashali wanting some movement ahead of him. He's found Schwartz. Sandro Coes, the former Torino player. Mayano making a run ahead of him, but not in that direction.
They seem a little hurried, don't they, to get the ball up there now. The goals seem to have taken them back a little bit.
They are such an unpredictable team, Fiorentina. You don't know quite what to expect from them. But very few teams get the better of them in this stadium. Bergami's throw, dealt with though by Serena. Now it's Stefan Schwartz to Piacentini. On for Baiano. Again, the ever-willing Carnashali has made the run outside him. It goes Batistuta, just lost his footing then at the vital moment. And it's Paganini to bring it away for Inter. And maybe you can tell me, Luther, what he was thinking of there. Down goes Batistuta.
Well.
It's Festa with him.
Yeah, well, I think he realised he wasn't going to get there, and he was just trying to slam the brakes on, and just totally lost his footing. But you can see the reason why probably they are so difficult to beat on their own turf. I mean, they do get the ball in the box at every opportunity.
Baiano. Rui Costa. Zabaruso now lending his support. And apologies there, I just lost your pictures for a moment. Nothing happened. Apart from in our production gallery where everybody fainted. Bergami. This is Festa. On by Roberto Carlos. Oh, a neat layoff in by Zanetti. Roberto Carlos has kept going. Branca was in the middle, didn't reach it. Amaruso away. Has it gone out? Yes, it's a corner.
Good play there from Roberto Carlos, didn't he? I mean, he's the first ball he's came, he just played it down the line, gone for the return, played it again, gone for the... I mean, lovely bit of football. It's a shame his cross didn't beat the first defender.
I think a lot of people saw him for the first time during the Umbro Cup in England back in the summer. And what a revelation he was, Roberto Carlos.
Oh, wasn't he just? I mean, he was an absolute delight to behold. I mean, raiding down that left side.
Festa and Paganini trying to find some room in there. Toldo having to tip it over the bar. And his height certainly saved him then. That one may well have dipped under the crossbar.
Yeah, I think it would have done. Having a few problems from set pieces, aren't they, at the moment?
Certainly an escape then for the home side Fiorentina. That'll be easy meet though for Toldo. Of course, he's very much in the Italian frame now, the national team. Made his debut against Croatia when Luca Bucci had to go off injured. And he's been to the last two squads when he rather was sent off. And he's been to the last two squads now, as Toldo, as the number 2 to Peruzzi. Carnashali. Serena. A dangerous cross by Otto. And Paganini taking no chances there. Whether he didn't get a call from Palioka, I don't know, but certainly whacked it away.
I think in those situations you don't take any risks whatsoever. I mean, first thing, safety first, get the ball away and you'll debate it later on.
In goes Baiano with Zanetti. And a foul on the Argentine international. Look at this fellow, Zanetti. He looks a very good player.
He does indeed. I mean, the spirit seems to have, Roy Hodgson seems to have got into this into team at the moment. I mean, great example of it there. No way was he going to give that up.
Yes, there's a lot of determination, a lot of wit about their play so far. They have the early advantage thanks to the goal from Maurizio Gatz on 16 minutes. Meantime, Milan have scored again at home to Piacenza, and it's Panucci with the second goal. Savicevic with the first. Now another one from their very, very promising young defender, Panucci. That'll be a free kick to Fiorentina. Struggling here to gain the initiative from Inter.
A bit fortunate to get that, I think. I mean, he's just stepped back into him there, and defenders coming onto the ball. Very fortunate to get that one.
Defender was Paganini in the eyes of the referee. Paganini, who has already been cautioned, remember. Schwarz with Rui Costa. Down goes Batistuta. Ayano. Failing though to combine with Rui Costa. So no harm done there from Inter's point of view. Palioka with just really the one shot to save so far. Inter will be well satisfied with their performance thus far. Zanetti with Ince, quickly closed down by Rui Costa. For the strength of Ince enabled him to survive the challenge. Paganini. Off goes Gatz, but to no avail. Certainly the arrival of Gatz in the second half last week against Udinese changed the course of the game.
He does look very lively up front, always willing to make those forward runs.
Cambone. Good play by Fresi. This is Brackley. And off goes Fresi again. Gatz in the middle. Fresi with the pass. And Gatz in there sniffing again. But certainly Toldo was alive to the danger.
It needed really a firmer cross on that. I mean, if he'd put more pace on it, the ball would have got to Gantz at the far post, but a little bit on the hit.
Again, enterprising play from Fresi, the former sweeper, who seems, if anything, to be playing further ahead of Ince this afternoon. I think in the past, Ince has been behind him. Fresi, of course, who laid on the goal and almost supplied another opportunity then for Gantz. That's Carlashali with the cross. Brackley, Ince, driving through until he was caught then by a very crude challenge. No foul. Catalino, well, surely, that at the very least was obstruction.
I thought so, but I mean, even if he wasn't going to get it the other side, I mean, it definitely was obstruction.
Oh, that's a wonderful play then by Carbone. Slipped on to Brackley. More danger for Fiorentina here, but there should have been. There should have been. A promising move that comes to nothing, to the relief of Fiorentina, who on occasions here are being sliced apart at the back.
They do look very bright into, don't they, when now they're going forward. Seem to have far more ideas about what they're doing than they obviously did earlier on in the season.
Much better organised now under Roy Hodgson. Here's Carbone. Still want one or two players to come back in to Berti. He's out injured at the moment, and Fontelan. Bianchi is the player who stood down today. He's on the bench with Gantz in the starting lineup. Amoruso to Padalino. Now Piacentini, 6 years with Roma before his switch to Florence. And he seems to be a regular in the side for the moment anyway. There has been a lot of switching around in midfield from the coach Ranieri, which the players haven't been too happy with. How can you expect us to perform, they say? We haven't got a settled team. Bergamy with the clearance. You can always rely on Fiorentina for an adventurous approach. So far, though, without any real cutting edge. Kardashiali. This is Gats. The man whose goal divides the two teams. Couldn't get away, though, from Padalino, with Rui Costa snapping at his heels. Stefan Schwarz. He's got Coes away to his left. And also Batistuta here. Now it's Coes. Serena, very ambitious. And Pagliuca has filled the shot. Very out of character.
Yeah, he seemed to have so much time to get down. He was actually lying on the floor waiting for it.
No real force behind the shot then from Serena.
No, he was already down waiting for the ball.
So the fumble from Pagliuca, his lack of concentration, as he's into the corner, taken by Baiano. Up goes Amoruso and Coes. Roberto Carlos just kicking it out of the hands almost of Pagliuca then. Carbone. A clever little player he is.
Again, super play from Carbone again. I mean, he's brought the ball down and three players around him and he still managed to get away with it.
He looked to have enormous potential, Carbone, when he was with Torino and then Napoli. And he's got his chance now on a bigger stage, really, with Inter. And certainly very much in favour since Hodgson's arrival, as I was suggesting earlier on. The winning goal against Udinese last week. His first in Serie A this season. Here's Padalino, a former Foggia defender, a little lucky then. Baiano just offside. They've been defending deeply Inter, but they'd pushed up then. Carbone is back on the field after his minor injury. Crazy. And then Paganin with a long ball upfield, and now the offside flag is up at the other end. Kardashiali to Rui Costa. Just rolling elegantly forward, Rui Costa. Kardashiali, as ever, supporting down that right flank. Zanetti tracking back with him, and there'll be a goal kick to Inter. It's proving a struggle so far for Fiorentina, Luther.
It is indeed. I mean, they've not been able to go as directly forward as they normally do, and to put the few extra passes together, they've been unable to do that today. So there's going to have to obviously be a rethink when they get in the dressing room at half-time if it remains at this the way it is. So we hope to see more from them soon.
Branca trying to pot it on in the direction of Gats. But now it's Piacentini. I think that's Rui Costa who's down injured. Piacentini's long pass. Can't find Batistuta though. It's actually Coes who's the player injured, I'm told.
They're actually looking quite vulnerable at the back as well, weren't they? I mean, Inter seems to be on the verge of getting through almost on every opportunity they get. So they've obviously got to do some sorting out there also.
As I was suggesting at the start, they haven't really been all that convincing, Fiorentina, although they've been winning matches at home. They've struggled away, and even some of the victories here in the Artemio Franchi Stadium haven't been very impressive. But they are up there in 4th place, just 3 points off the pace. There's the moment when Coes was injured after his confrontation with Fresi.
Just fell awkwardly, I think, on the ankle, or looks like the ankle he's done.
They have Bajika and Robbiati on the bench as possible replacements should Coes not be able to return. Serena taking the throw quickly to Rui Costa. Fresi came sliding into the tackle, and unfairly. Rui Costa wanting to direct the operations. Showing plenty of confidence there. There's Batistuta. Now Schwartz. Well, he'd spotted Carnashali over on the far side, but couldn't link up with him. Padalino. I think Robiati is now preparing to come on, so clearly the injury to Coes is a fairly serious one. Padalino. Now Batistuta. Haven't seen too much of him so far. That was a very careless pass from the Argentine star, the man they call Batigol. Of course, he's taken over as the idol of the France fans from Roberto Baggio. Now here's Robiati. Another very exciting player on his day, but he hasn't really made the breakthrough yet. It's going to be a big season for him if he can get in the team. Bogomi. In came Schwartz, a little dangerously. He's such a volatile character, Stefan Schwartz. So coach Ranieri is having to make a change. Off goes Sandro Coes to take no further part in the game, and Robiati will replace him in midfield. Very attack-minded player, Robiati, and his one goal this season was a brilliant free kick against Bari. Another offside decision going against Inter.
Forwards keep making these flat, straightforward runs, and I mean, they will be caught out every time. Just got to bend these runs a little bit, or make them from a little bit deeper.
Amoruso showing great determination. No shortage of skill either. Moyano on the end of it. Piacentini with a shot that's fired straight at Paul Ince, I think it was. Rui Costa. Now Batistuta. Down he goes. I don't think there was too much chance of the referee giving that one. Piacentini. Batistuta was on his way back. I would have thought offside, but there was no flag. And here's that moment again, Luther.
There might have just been a hint of somebody getting his ankles there, was it? No, I think he just tripped over his own feet in the end. Right decision by the referee.
Coming from an ex-striker, I'll accept that one, Luther. You'd have appealed for it, you know you would. Here's Rui Costa. That's Amoruso. It was going well wide. Batistuta on for Padalino, trying to force his way through. So fairly desperate defending by Inter, and now they can launch the counter-attack. Carbone and Branca. Disappointing from Branca. The pace is being lifted again. They made a good first half.
It has been. It had a little dip in the middle just after the goal, but it's coming alive again now.
I'm sure Fiorentina now will take the game to Inter. Rui Costa just had too much skill, too much ability then for Branca. It was a real forwards challenge. Now, is he going to be booked for that? They made no attempt whatsoever to play the ball. Marco Branca, who gave away a penalty last week with a rugby tackle.
Well, that's the problem when you get these forwards going back into the penalty area.
Did you ever go that far back, Luther, or not?
Only on my way off the pitch.
Fair enough. 5 minutes of the first half remaining. The pressure stays on the Inter goal. Rui Costa with the free kick. Don't think Paliuca got to that one. It's going to be another corner.
No, he gave himself an awful lot to do there. It surprised me he went back as far in the goal as he did. He did sort of invite the ball to be put into that near post.
Robiati's going to take this kick, and his arrival will certainly add some flair to Fiorentina's approach play. Might just leave them a little bit more open, though. Here's Piacentini. Came off Roberto Carlos, not that he knew too much about it, and then Festa to clear. So a strong finish to the first half from the home team, who aren't accustomed to being behind too often in their own stadium. A passionate atmosphere as ever today. The crowd getting very angry that the ball hasn't been returned quickly, so that the team can maintain their momentum. Serena looking for the long throw. Moyano, who had come to the near post, away by Bogomi. remains still one of the most resolute defenders in the Italian game. Stefan Schwarz to hoist it forward again. That's Roberto Carlos.
Been done for handball there, I think.
Paul Ince arguing the toss. They have mainly been on the defensive, so we haven't seen too much of Paul Ince going forward.
No, but they've had to. I mean, they've had to defend because they have kept throwing the ball at them. So, I mean, to now he's done his job very well.
Batistuta is there, and Rui Costa. Ince back in that defensive wall. Robbiati is there too. So maybe he might fancy his chances from there. Here is indeed Robbiati, and he's curled it too high.
Very disappointing.
Nothing there to trouble Pagliuca.
I don't even think I could have managed to get it that far over the crossbar from there.
Well, I wouldn't bet on that. You still scoring goals at the weekends, Luther, your non-league side?
I've just been waiting for you to ask me.
I know, I normally do. You always
no,
ask me to ask you.
It's a little 25-yarder yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything during the game or not? Did you win?
We did, yeah.
Well done. Piacentini. That's enough of that. Baiano. On by Rui Costa. Clever little pass it was too. Stefan Schwarz trying to shake off Fraser's attentions. Just can't find that telling pass, Fiorentina.
They're working very hard into to close them down, to deny them the space, deny them the opportunity to play those balls through. That will cause them problems.
You feel too, Luther, when they do break out into, they can cause problems at the other end.
They can indeed.
Especially with this man, Roberto Carlos, who's been flying down that left flank on several occasions. This is free kick. Carbone.
Another poor one from him.
Crazy. He's just mistimed his run, but it was close. Up went the linesman's flag. And Fiorentina can't get on with it quickly enough. So anxious to get a goal back before half-time. Amoruso. Here's Padolino. The only team in Serie A yet to draw this season, Fiorentina. Piacentini was cut out there by Gantz. Piacentini again. We're inside the last minute now of the first half. It's Robbiati swinging over the cross. Not quite deep enough. Festa was there.
They've had some luck, haven't they, today? But some good fortune the way they've been playing those diagonal balls into this left-hand channel. They have picked a few up and got some crosses in.
Schwarz. And maybe there he and Rui Costa were going for the same ball. Did seem to get in each other's way. Serena having to backpedal. Amoruso with Serena. Baiano. Robbiati has made the run for him. Batistuta in the middle. Serena here. And it's Bergami who clears for the corner. Rui Costa, they've taken the kick very quickly. Too close to Pagliuca as Carnashali converged on him. Amoruso. Robbiati in pursuit.
There's that ball again.
The much deeper one this time. Carnashali settling for the throw. Concerted attacking now from Fiorentina in the last few seconds of the first half. Piacentini with Carnashali. Batistuta's in the middle. Just couldn't get his head to it. Couldn't get a clean run at it, really.
No, he done well. Defenders did very well there to block his run to the ball, but exceptional again to get his head to it in any way, shape or form there.
He's got a tremendous goal-scoring record, though, in Serie A, Batistuta. And still, of course, very much a member of the Argentinian national team. Cabore. Oh, could be a chance here. Toller's out of position. Branca off the line by Padalino.
Super play once more. Spotted the old very well. I mean, that's exactly the way they got the first goal, and they've had another couple of opportunities to do it again. Be disappointed we're not getting a good strike at that, because that really should have ended in the back of the net.
But all credit there to Padalino for his awareness in getting back in time to hook it off the line. Not quite enough pace on the shot, the side-footed shot from Branca. He's in the middle now, hoping to profit from the corner, which Roberto Carlos will take. Toldo, I think, whistle had gone anyway before he fisted it clear. A little argument going on. Paganini and Piacentini. We've had now 2 minutes of stoppage time. There's some jostling going on. And the referee had blown for the infringement in favour of Fiorentina. Now he's blown for half-time. Certainly an enjoyable first half. Most of the attacking has come from Fiorentina, but Inter very dangerous on the break, as they prove with a 1 goal so far, scored on 16 minutes by Maurizio Gantz. That's the way of it now then. We'll be back with all the other half-time scores and other news too during the break, and that'll be in a couple of minutes from now, so stay with us.
Welcome back, everyone, to Football Italia. It's 1-0 to Inter after 45 minutes of play here between Fiorentina and Inter. The teams obviously on a break at the moment, so time for us to have a look through the half-time scores on the rest of Serie A. And we start up, across the waters in Cagliari, over in Sardinia. They're leading 1-0 against Napoli after a goal by Fioricano. Cremonese are tied currently with Padova. A goal from John Aloisi, the Australian, on his debut for Cremonese. He's just come from Antwerp. Padova answering with Gianpietro. Fiorentina trailing at home to Inter. The goal from Maurizio Gantz from the Milanese outfit. Milan, no surprise to see them 2-0 up over Piacenza, Savicevic and Panucci scoring for them. Roma and Bari 0-0. Sampdoria Udinese goalless as well. Trino trailing at home to Atalanta. Anglemar's been sent off, so they're down to 10 men, and they've had a Bacci goal as well to worsen their afternoon. And Vicenza are winning at the moment against Lazio at home. 1-0 the score there. Maini got the goal. Well, the evening game, as you can see, is a bit of a whopper from Parma. Here's Ken with the details.
In Tuesday night's Mezzanotte, you can enjoy the highlights of one of the games of the season, Parma versus Juventus. Last season, Parma were Juve's closest rivals, both at home and in Europe. And although Nevio Scala's side triumphed in the UEFA Cup, they lost out in the Coppa Italia and, most importantly, in the biggest competition of all, the Championship. In this game last season, Juve inflicted a rare defeat on a Parma side who were on a run of 13 consecutive home wins. Parma never really recovered from that defeat, and 4 months later were crushed 4-0 in Turin as Juve confirmed their status as Italy's top side. Going into their first meeting of this season, Parma are 4 points clear of Juve at the top of Serie A. However, with their place in the Champions Cup quarter-finals now assured, Lippi's side can concentrate on the league, and a win tomorrow would put them right back among the leading pack. It's certainly a game the Bianconeri cannot afford to lose. Juventus have already lost 3 times this season, and another defeat could prove too much for the Turin Giants. However, if Parma are to seriously challenge for the Scudetto, they'll have to show more subtlety going forward than they did last Sunday, when debutant Gianluigi Buffon saved a point against Milan. So, will Parma gain revenge for those defeats last season, or will Juventus rediscover last season's championship form? Find out who comes out on top in this crucial encounter in Mezzanotte on Tuesday night.
Well, there's a turn up for the books. Well, anyway, apparently we may be seeing Faustino Asprilla back in the Parma lineup for that game, so looks like an interesting match indeed. Join us for that on Tuesday night, as Ken was mentioning. Of course, this afternoon coming up, we've got the rest of our live match, Fiorentina against Inter. It's 1-0 to Inter after 45 minutes of play, as you've probably seen. Join us for the second half after this break. Welcome back, everyone, to Football Italia. We're getting ready for the second half now of Fiorentina against Inter. The skies darkening overhead, but the mood's still light, Paul, because we've had a great first half and a good goal as well from Inter.
Yes, a very impressive first half. Super goal by Inter. Fresi, who's done wonderfully well down the right-hand side. Crossed in a super ball. I mean, Gans wonderfully well with his first touch. And a wonderful lob over the advancing Toldo.
Right, certainly showed up the Fiorentina defence, who you were talking about at the start, as not being exactly a guarantee, are they?
Yeah, I mean, they're taking risks. They're not defending well as a unit, James. Collectively, they're all at sea. And it's been exploited on many occasions.
Right. OK, they had a chance for a second one right at the end there, despite a lot of Fiorentina pressure. Fiorentina managed to score in every one of their last 26 home games. Do you see them managing to continue that?
I think Fiorentina will score because they play with such a cavalier attitude. But Inter defending so well, defending really deep. Right. And as you said, their goal scoring record is impressive. But really, they really all see it back. Gans and Branca, they're teaming up wonderfully, really linking up well. Right. And really taking apart the defence.
Well, Zanetti and Carlos as well over on the left flank.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, James, that's as a result of the system. They're playing a 4-4-2. You've got Carboni wide on the right, Zanetti wide on the left, Paul Ince and Fresi. Paul Ince is playing for a more withdrawn role, and Fresi is really getting forward, but they look better balanced, they look in much better shape, and obviously Roberto Carlos overlapping on the right side is really causing problems. But Carboni down the right-hand side, James, I think has been superb. Yeah. His touch, his technique, his final ball, really a delight to watch.
Well, certainly Inter are showing a lot more life than the last time we saw them, which was down in Naples. And
that's right.
Seemed to have more of a game plan. Paul Ince, though, you mentioned him just now. Obviously, Fresi's playing more of an advanced role than Paul. The role that perhaps Paul would normally be occupying. How do you see his performance so far?
I think Paul's working well because really what they're doing is they're playing two in the middle of midfield. Fresi is more the advanced midfield player. Ince is playing a more disciplined role, and he's doing his job well, taking good responsibility, breaking up all the attacks. And Piacentini and Rui Costa, for me, have not really imposed themselves on the game as a consequence of Ince's working hard to close them down.
Right, OK, so just a final thing. Do you think that Inter are going to hang on today?
I think so. I think it's going to be a positive result. I think we've got a great second half in store. I really have.
Well, let's hope so. You probably heard the roar there a second or two ago as the players have begun to stroll back out onto the field for the second half. Let's join our commentators for that now, Luther Blizzard and Peter Brackley.
Thank you, James. So far, so good then for Roy Hodgson's Inter team, seeking their first win away to Fiorentina in 8 years. And as James was suggesting there with Paul Elliott, certainly a lot more confidence about them now from when we viewed them earlier in the season. Roy Hodgson has clearly got them settled down, got them organised. And we were talking ourselves about Paul Ince's role in the first half, Luther. He certainly had a steady first half, and it's Fresi who's taken on the more attacking battle.
That's right, he has indeed. I mean, his main job really has been when Rui Costa's come over on that right-hand side. You know, his job has really been to track him and break the attacks up and get the attacks going again. You know, and I mean, he's done it superbly. He's had a couple of little sorties going forward, but basically he's been in that very disciplined role, holding and really protecting the back four.
Two very potent strikers up front for Fiorentina, Batistuta and Baiano, but neither really has made too much of an impact so far.
No, not at the moment, and that is down really to the way that Inter have really defended. I mean, they've defended deep. They've really given them no opportunity to running onto balls, which is what Batistuta and Baiano really likes to do. And as long as they can continue to do that, I really can't see them getting a goal.
Yes, they've switched Zanetti over to the left side for this game, Inter. That's rather curtailed the attacking ambitions of Carnashali down the right side. And Schwartz in the central role in midfield hasn't been too effective either. I think Robbiati's entrance may well help to change the course of the game a bit, though. He's such an attack-minded player, plenty of flair and enterprise, and he will certainly make some runs down that left side.
He has indeed. I mean, that's really where the few opportunities have come for Fiorentina, you know, late on in the first half, is when they play that long diagonal ball into that channel and he's run onto the end and got the cross in. But apart from that, at the moment, it's all pretty much in front of Inter.
Inter, who've drawn 2 and lost 2 away from home before this match this afternoon. So certainly there's been an upturn in their fortunes, at least to the halfway stage anyway. Inter then to kick off. Now attacking the goal to our left. Paul Ince in the centre circle. And here he is now in possession. Away by Carnashali, but only as far as Branca. Then Piacentini with the intervention.
Yeah, a typical English kick-off that was.
It was, wasn't it?
Put the ball forward and get them under pressure straight
away. Like a rugby clearance.
It was almost.
Roberto Carlos to Carbone. Over on the left for the moment. There's Baiano in for Rui Costa. Now Carnashali, he's got away down the right this time. And the service was poor.
disappointing cross. I mean, they've worked good little triangles there to get the ball to him, and really he's totally wasted it.
Carnashali, who's one of a dozen or so players who's occupied the right back role for Italy since Arrigo Sacchi has taken charge. Off the head of Stefan Schwarz. This is Padalino, who made that last ditch clearance off the line towards the end of the first half. Carnashali. In goes Piacentini. Very hard-working player for Fiorentina. Now Baiano looking to embarrass Paganin. But the Inter defender had too much strength for him then, Paganin, who's been a regular in the side for about a year now. He and Festa the first choices. And seemingly automatic ones these days. Roberto Carlos taking the free kick then for Inter. Hoping to protect the lead in the second half, earned in the first half through Maurizio Gantz. Ince. Now Carbone. Certainly for the time being anyway, Carbone has moved across to this left side. Off goes Frazee here with Padalino. Little clip of the heels from the Interman. Frazee came from Salernitana back in the summer for £3 million. They were labelling him the new Baresi, which is a bit unfair on him really. And in the sweeper role, Roy Hodgson preparing him further forward in midfield. And I think you can say it's been a success so far today. Here's Frazee now. Interesting challenge. I shouldn't have praised him, Luther. It always happens.
We should know a lot better than that now, shouldn't we?
Curious pass to them from Rui Costa of all people.
I mean, both teams at the moment, nobody's settled down. They're still probably still got the half-time drinks going around at the moment.
What do they have at half-time?
Oh, probably Lucas, I'd have thought. A little plug there.
Roberto Carlos. Branca. What did you have when you were playing? They're meths, I suppose, isn't it? Stefan Schwarz managing to keep his emotions in check.
Roberto Carlos.
So this is an injury they can certainly do without. Inter, Roberto Carlos. Really has been devastating for Inter this season. With those surging runs down the flank, his goal-scoring ability. But he is having to leave the field for the moment anyway. Let's hope it's not too serious. Interestingly, Gabriel Batistuta was talking before the match about the South Americans on view, and he reckons that Zanetti, the Argentine, is a better player than Roberto Carlos, which didn't go down too well. Batistuta himself, of course, also an Argentinian. Here's Batistuta now. Laid off, and a good strike, but well wide of goal. From Serena, rather. About the third strike he's had today.
I think they're going to have to do more of that. I mean, a bit more patient with that build-up, knocking a few passes. You know, they have to play their way in before they can then revert to their normal game of getting the ball a bit more direct.
Batistuta was also rather critical of Inter in the past, which again the Inter players were far from happy with. There's Roberto Carlos limping back on. Batistuta reckons they've nicked results off Fiorentina in the past. Well, for the moment, Fiorentina are in trouble again. Roberto Carlos obviously still in discomfort. Here's Robbiati, and Roberto Carlos down on the ground, and surely he won't be able to continue. That looks very painful.
That time, along the ball that made contact with his ankle that time.
Well, they've rushed him back on, and he certainly wasn't ready, and he's turned very awkwardly there. And this time, if he is to come back, I think there's going to be some delay before he's able to do so. Looks like Padrone is preparing to come on, so it is clearly a big problem for Roberto Carlos. And certainly a major blow for Inter. Alessandro Padrone. Meantime, here's Roviati. Again, nothing really to concern Pagliuca. Still hoping to make his way back into the Italian squad in time for the European Championship finals, but for the moment very much out of favour with Arrigo Sacchi, and no proper explanation as to why. Apparently the goalkeeper upset him with an article he wrote. Well, that seems rather trivial.
There's a few other players that would probably think exactly the same thing.
Does seem to make some rather curious decisions, Arrigo Sacchi. Amoruso. Well-timed interception there by Festa. Stefan Schwarz to sweep it on again. Batistuta. A theatrical dive to the ground, and surely...
that was a fine tackle.
There was no contact then, other than with the ball. I can't understand that one. Batistuta's looking for the foul.
He is, yeah. Trying to find a way back into the game for Fiorentina at the moment, and he's willing to do it in whichever way possible.
So another test then for the Inter defence. Now with Alessandro Padrone, the new man from Cremonese. He cost £2 million back in the summer. He's on for Roberto Carlos, which will, I'm sure, reduce their attacking options. There's a shot that's got through, but well smothered by Pagliuca, who, whatever Arrigo Sacchi may feel, is surely still one of the best in the business. Keeping for the moment anyway, as he saves there from Batistuta his 6th clean sheet, if it stays this way, in Serie A this season. Baiano. Another wayward pass from Baiano. And he'll be looking anxiously towards the bench, I'm sure, during the second half, in case he's going to be substituted again. Rui Costa normally suffers that fate. Now Baiano showing his frustration in slicing Fraser's legs from beneath him.
He's had a couple of those so far this half, so I think he's going to have to be very careful as the game progresses.
Padrone with the free kick. No starts in Serie A, just the one in the Italian Cup from Padrone. And Fiorentina haven't got going yet in the second half. Piacentini. They won't get started that way. Paganin rather hopefully forward, but Katz very nearly profited from it. He's got Branca up with him. This is Branca now. No, the ball's been handled. Free kick to Fiorentina. We remember, have an exemplary home record in the league this season. 5 wins out of 5. But that record very much under threat now from Inter. Well, it certainly hit Branca. Was it his arm, though? Paganin. Fought by Baiano. Acceleration from Baiano, but Paganin had tracked him all the way. But it will be a corner.
Good defending in the end, but I thought maybe he should have got the crossing.
I thought he picked him for pace then, Baiano, but Paganin certainly showed a turn of speed to save the day. Here's Baiano then with the corner. Fiorentina's 7th. Pagliuca, an easy catch. No challenge at all from any of the men in the purple shirts. Just being told that Cremonese are now 3-1 up at home to Padova. And Maspero has got a couple there. Former Sampdoria man. Zanetti back in his left-sided role now. It's Frazee. Branca did well to withstand that challenge. Then Piacentini flying in. Some very competitive play from Fiorentina, which has been punished. Yellow card for Piacentini.
Probably more for what he said and his action of kicking the ball away. I think that caused the problem.
Branca, the man who was upended. So a yellow card for Piacentini. Carbone. Away by Amoruso. Here's Stefan Schwarz to find Batistuta. Fiorentina will need to provide a better service for Batistuta in the second half, and they won't do it that way. Not that Batistuta was up there. Dreadful end product again.
It was again. I mean, that's really has been really letting them down. Their final pass, whether it be a cross or a pass into the box, has not been very good today.
A lot of Fiorentina fans aren't too sure about their team, certainly not about the coach Ranieri, and he's going to come in for some more criticism if they can't lift their game in the second half. Padalino. Another passer that's gone astray, and there's no real cohesion about their play, which will certainly be music to Inter. Sweet music. Rui Costa. Away by Pedroni. Serena. Pagani's clearance this time. Ince snapping into the tackle. Then Branco wide to Carbone. It's a fine run through the middle by Gats. He might get to this one first too. And Toldo just made it in time. I thought it was a little slow coming out for a moment as Gats went marauding through the middle.
I think he probably should have come off his line a bit quicker, the goalkeeper, but I mean, it was only slightly over here, otherwise the ball would have been favourite all the way.
Robiati, great strike, and too hot for Paliuca to handle. Pedroni's clearance. Really was a stunning strike then by Robiati. That's Piacentini, or Tini rather. Out by Festa, only as far as Robiati. Now Serena. Rui Costa, slipped through, Batistuta, onside, and saved by Paliuca. Well, you'd have put money on Batistuta to score there.
Absolutely incredible. Couldn't see any way that not ending on the back of the net.
Schwarz, a squandered opportunity by Batistuta of all people. Normally so lethal in front of goal. Off goes Robiati, and between them, Paganini and Festa managed to get it away.
Wasn't it a lovely bit of play by Rui Costa in the first place to get him in? Lovely little ball, beat your man, and then just held on to it just long enough to buy him time to get in, and a lovely little pass.
Yes, we saw the creativity of the man then. He's just prodded it through. Serena in the middle. Well, the flag stayed down. Batistuta ruled onside as well, but he couldn't accept his opportunity. And that really should have been a goal then for Fiorentina. Batty goal was Batty miss. Padalino. Robiati to Amoruso. Serena's run, checked down that far side. This is Carbone. Another clever little pass from him. Off goes Maurizio Gats, the goal scorer. Gats slipping it through. Not on the same wavelength, though, as Marco Branca.
And that's going to be the danger of Fiorentina. I mean, every time they break into look as if they're actually going to put the ball in the back of the net.
That's Balverni, taking no risks after his entrance into this game in place of Roberto Carlos. Rui Costa weaving his way through the tackles, and he was upended. Free kick to Fiorentina. And we've been playing an hour now. Rui Costa and Robiati taking charge of the free kick as Paliuca organises his defensive troops. Here's Robiati, curled over invitingly, but no Fiorentina player on the end of it. Out by Ince. Oh, good turn then by Brackley. Lovely skill.
Lovely play.
Carbone. He's got Gats through the middle. Away from Batistuta, who gave up the chase. Carbone almost chipping then into the path of Brackley. Some very positive counter-attacking then from Inter. And there's always a danger they are going to score again on the break. Festa. And look how far forward those Fiorentina defenders have pushed up towards the halfway line. Rui Costa looking to direct the traffic again towards the Inter goal, but it has to do better than that. Adelino and Carnashali almost clashing heads then. As they elected to make the challenge together. On from Batistuta. Maiano, they were pulled the other way. Neatly down by Gats. Now, Marco Branca. Cutting inside Carnashali. Can't chip Toldo.
I think he's picked the wrong man to try that on.
So it's still going to plan for Roy Hodgson's team. Unbeaten since he took charge. Certainly there's a new zest about the place since his arrival. Underlined there by the aggression of Paul Ince. Hoping to make a name for himself in Italy this season. He certainly won't want to come back having been a failure. There's no two ways about that. Bergame's free kick. Branca is the target, beaten in the air though by Carnashali. And then the shot driven through by Fresi. That's straight at Toldo.
Showed good technique, didn't he? Keeping that one down. I mean, that could have ended up going a long way over the crossbar.
Padalino, who's keeping Malushi out of the team. This is Serena on for Stefan Schwartz. Then Caruso to spread it wide to Carnashali again. An ambitious pass. No real prospect of nicking up with Rui Costa. Now Zanetti. Padalino with time to spare. Amoruso, whose arrival at the back this season has added some stability, the former Bari man. Now here's Serena, who's got Schwartz up with him. Robiati out wide, options in the middle. That was the wrong one. Now Rui Costa didn't quite sit up for him then.
Not really attacking the ball. When crosses are coming over, the Fiorentina players tend to be standing in the box and waiting for it. For some reason there's nobody arriving, but when you arrive late, that is when you catch people out and you get opportunities to score goals.
Batistuta just having a little dispute with Cantelange, the referee this afternoon. Something troubling Paliuca. Almost at the halfway stage in the second half. And it remains delicately balanced. On by Baiano. Batistuta's after this one. Festa there with him. He didn't get the luck of the bounce then. Claiming a little half-heartedly that he was pushed. Does like an argument, Batistuta. There's Paganin. Serena. Now Bogami. Carbone to Ince. Schwartz getting away from Ince. Now Rui Costa. He's got Robbiati here. Batistuta in the middle. Good work from Robbiati. In goes Batistuta! Great header. Great header.
There it is. First time anybody really arrived at the back post, and Batistuta finished that superbly, didn't he?
66 minutes gone, and Batistuta, batty goal, has struck again for Fiorentina. 1-1. Well, he hasn't had the best of games by his high standards, but here he was in there poaching now. Always favoured to get to that one first, and his header harrowing unerringly into the corner after some excellent approach play down the left side from Robbiati.
That's right, and I mean, superbly got up for it, and there was no way that was not going to end up in the back of the net. Superb header.
Goal number 5 in Serie A this season for Batistuta.
There have been signs that he was going to do something, because he's won quite a few footballs that were played forward to him. You know, he won quite a few balls that were played to his head, so the warnings were there.
Garnashali. Now Bayanu.
Now it's Inter's turn to show us what they're made of.
Rui Costa. I would think now the Inter goal is going to remain under siege for a while anyway. Rui Costa. Bester trying to keep his composure at the back. And the effort of Rui Costa certainly appreciated by the fans then. He says he feels himself he hasn't been playing that well this season, Rui Costa. He, as I say, apologised profusely for his reactions last week when he was so annoyed at being substituted yet again. He apologised to just about everybody, even you, Luther, I think. Piacentini. Garnashali's made another of those runs out to the right. Batistuta, this is Garnashali. Bayano through the middle. Paganini almost misjudged the bounce, and that's Bayano with the cross.
The vital header that was.
Batistuta right in the middle.
That's right, he was there again.
Amoruso. Good spell this for Fiorentina. Serena. It's sliding into the tackle. He mistimed it.
That's a booking, I think.
Yellow card. Now that means a suspension now for Paul Ince. Serena had a little bit too much guile then. For the former Manchester United man.
Yeah, there's been a few of the Inter players that have been diving into tackles and you know, really selling themselves, and at this stage of the game, it's a case you've got to stand on your feet and defend properly. Keep yourself solid and don't let the opposition get behind you.
Batistuta lining up for a shot at goal. Here he is now. And it was Ince who threw himself into his path. Off goes Amoruso. Suddenly a chance developed for him then. His burst of pace took him through, and having got there, Luther, he perhaps should have done better then.
Should have done better. I mean, there he's probably just got a bit overexcited and then, you know, just really lashed at it and just couldn't keep it down. But they did finally put some pressure on him. They should not have been allowed to get in there as easy as that.
Well, Fiorentina have found another gear in the second half, and Inter, you feel, will do well to hold on.
They've got to gather themselves now, get themselves together, get that solid 4-4-2 going again, so they start defending from that solid base, and hopefully they can get themselves back in the game a little bit.
Fresi. Foul by Piacentini. Fresi with the free kick. Here's Ince. Festa. Carbone. Branco in the middle now, but Amoruso is there, and it's Stefan Schwarz to bring it away for Fiorentina. This very excitable crowd right behind their team now. They were beginning to show some impatience earlier on. Different story. Now Fiorentina are level, thanks to that man Battistuta yet again. Does tend to score most of his goals at home. And he's scored now in his last 5, including this one against Inter. Stefan Schwarz. Padalino to Amoruso. Still Amoruso. That was it, siding into the tackle again. He's living very dangerously here, having been cautioned. Says himself he's got to learn to adapt to refereeing decisions in Italy, but I don't think there's only 2 ways about that. That was a foul.
No, he's got to learn there. That's another opportunity where you just stand on your feet and really you dive in and you give free kicks away there. And I mean, this could really cost you here with the players that can take these free kicks.
Very impetuous challenge by Paul Ince. Now Battistuta doesn't fancy this one. He's wandered off into the middle. Let someone else have a go. Robbiati and Rui Costa. And that's Amoruso. Well, he's popped up with a few useful goals down the years, Amoruso. He's got 7 in Serie A over the past 2 campaigns. And 1 in this one against Cagliari. Rui Costa with the corner. I'm not sure what Amoruso was intending then. Carbone. And Rui Costa got the better of him. Serena now. Here is Rui Costa again. Rui Costa's shot by Otto. Good tackle. What a vital 1-2 from Festa.
I think the flag might have gone up there for that one.
I don't think he did, you know. From where he's placing the ball, he obviously had, but Baiano didn't seem to know either.
You never ever believe it when you're a striker, ever.
Free kick to Fiorentina. Just to remind you, Milan are still leading Piacenza by 2-0. Milan the leaders jointly with Parma. Robbiati, it'll fall for Baiano. Trying to wriggle his way through, maybe wanted 1 touch too many. Out comes Zanetti. It's now 3-0, I'm told, by the way. Milan. Maldini has added another goal there, so they're well in charge against Piacenza. And Lazio are still a goal down to Vicenza. It's been a long time since Vicenza lost at home. Maini gave them the lead 5 minutes before half-time. Milan on Parma on 21, remember, before the start of the weekend games. Lazio 2 points behind, and then Fiorentina in 4th place on 18, 3 behind Milan and Parma. Tonight, of course, it's Parma at home to Juventus. Don't forget Messinotti on Tuesday night. You can see the highlights. You got any feelings at this early stage of the season, Luther, as to where the title might end up?
Well, I think it's definitely going to be somewhere between Parma, if they can get that conviction that they really are in with a chance, and obviously Milan. And you can't ever write out Juventus out of that equation. Obviously Milan are in charge at the moment, and with the result they're getting at the moment, well, they've got to be favourites.
This is Carbone. Belcomi has stayed down, so there are problems for Inter here now with him out of position. Rui Costa. Oh, great pass, Padalino! Such vision again from Rui Costa. Well, it's a corner, and Inter's defence was all over the place there. I think they were appealing for offside as it was slotted through by Rui Costa. It was a wonderful pass.
Yeah, it was an absolutely super pass, and very disappointing that not ending in the back of the net.
Well, we'll see that incident again in a moment. And certainly credit the goalkeeper with the save too, to keep Inter in the match. That's Bergamy who's down injured. Might be Manicone who would come on for him. It is Manicone, number 20. Oh, Frazier's gone off. Now they'll have to take this again. Robiati with the corner. Inter just about hanging in there. Robiati. Hits with a header out. That's Stefan Schwartz. And a lot of disappointed teammates around him.
That's right, but I don't think there's any danger there on his right foot. I mean, I could have done better than that.
We'll all reserve judgment on that, but now Paliuka is going to receive a yellow card here for time wasting. I think he was warned earlier on. Referee Trentalangi not happy with the antics of Paliuka. And I'm sure when teams see goalkeepers time wasting like that, Luther, they can only take encouragement from it and think, well, we're well on top. It's a psychological advantage, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they haven't really got started the second half, have they, Inter, at all? Now getting that goal against them, they've really got to get themselves together and start to play again.
Carnashali was first to that one. Now Piacentini. Here's Carnashali again. Batistuta is the target. Away by Bergamy to Carbone. Again, the first time pass, but it's asking far too much of Branco and Gatz. Serena. Rui Costa intelligently back into his path. Serena. Rui Costa again. Iano and Batistuta waiting in the middle. That's Festa with a header out. Now Paul Ince. Carbone. Manicone. On by Ince. The Schwarz has it back for Fiorentina. Now Piacentini. I think Rui Costa was on his way back, but Baiano was onside. Across towards Batistuta. A full stretch.
Full stretch. Very unlucky not to get out of that one. But they've got to keep the ball in, so they're giving the ball away far too easily, and they're going to get punished for it. They've got to start making a few passes, you know, keep the ball a little while, making Fiorentina get a bit anxious and wanting to win the ball back.
Well, they've really got into their stride in the second half, Fiorentina, after a tentative first few minutes, when you felt Inter were really still in charge. Now the initiative has been prized away from them. And Paliuka, much the busier goalkeeper in the second period. And you have to be careful here, having been booked already. More time-wasting tactics. The free kick goes Fiorentina's way, hoping to preserve their 100% home record in the league this season. Panalino, who came so close to a second goal a few minutes ago. Serena. 10 minutes to go. Robiati. Rui Costa. Easily deceiving Manicone. But he stuck to his task well then to Manicone to win it back again. Carbone in some space over on that right side. Gantz and Branco through the forward channels, but a total breakdown in communication there. They've lost their way now, Inter.
They really have. I mean, ever since Roberto Carlos went off, they've really not contributed very much to the game whatsoever.
Iano's pass, Serena. And all the way back to Amoruso. This is Schwarz. Stabbed on for Carnashali. Rui Costa. Cleverly done. Robiati now. But the finish was woeful.
He's been impressive the second half, hasn't he, Rui Costa? He's really got into stride a little bit. Now he's beginning to stroke the ball around and showing great ability.
Yes, he's had his differences, as we've been saying, with Coach Ranieri. He remains an outstanding player, as I'm sure we're going to see in the European Championship finals. On by Rui Costa now. Always the cue for him to make a mistake. There's Maniconi. Zanetti, who's had a quiet game, really. Serena just kept it in. Carbone, who brings him down. Robiati. Straight there to Bergami. Now it's Carbone. Little chip through to Gantz.
There they go again, giving the ball away. They're too eager to go forward. They've got to take some of the sting out of Fiorentina at the moment, otherwise you can see them concede another goal.
Amoruso to Piacentini. Carnashali. Played off by Rui Costa. Here he is again. Battistuta had come short for him. Nobody got into the space, though. Paul Ince looking to drive into forward. Maniconi, a player very much on the fringe of the team these days. Maniconi. Carbone, it's a clever pass. Off goes Gantz. Just wanted a bit too much time, though. It's Branker, actually. There's certainly a chance that's been wasted. Oh, now Pagliuca having to scurry back.
What he was thinking about there. I mean, he committed himself to go and get it, and it was outside the box, so he couldn't handle it.
So Bianchi, the Italian international, is now about to come on in place of Carbone, so I'm sure that will be a straight swap. Carbone, who's patrolled the right flank more impressively in the first than the second.
He has done, yeah, but I think without any real help out there, I mean, he's been outnumbered in so many occasions, and he has seemed to be tiring a little bit, so you can understand the change.
Bianchi, who was for a long time regarded as one of the top players, the top wide players in the Italian game, until he had a long-term injury, and he's never really been quite the same player since. Always a favourite, though, of Arrigo Sacchi during his peak period. Ranieri wondering if his team now can find the winning goal, and hoping they can remain tight at the back against these Inter breakaways. They haven't been as dangerous in the second half on the counter-attack, Inter. Fiorentina always looking the more likely scorers. Serena. This is Piacentini. Now Baiano. Twisting and turning, he's got through too. Rui Costa was with him. Baiano's shot! And it flashed wide of goal.
Lovely footwork there, working himself to position, and a fine shot at the end of it. But Pagliuca knew it was safe.
Good feet from Baiano, and the shot, well, it was only a whisker away. Zanetti winning the battle of the two number fours. Still Zanetti. And he was fouled by Carnashali. We're inside the last 5 minutes. So a chance here then for Inter. And without Roberto Carlos, they'll have to look to someone else if they want a shot at goal from here. Maniconi to Pedroni. Branca in the middle. Out comes Toldo. Didn't really get a clean fist on it. Karnashali. Iano's pass. Batistuta. And had Pagliuca rushing out of his goal. Now he'll have to scamper back. Rui Costa and Batistuta. And there's an injury first before we can continue. Can't quite see who that is, Luther. Any clues?
I can't think who that is.
Somebody involved in this, presumably. Oh yes, it was Amoruso who was clattered then by his own goalkeeper, Toldo. So we'll presume it's him down on the ground. It's fairly safe to say that. He's had a strong game at the back again, Amoruso. Former Bari man.
Doesn't quite know where he is.
I don't think he does, no. Rui Costa. This is Robiati to Schwarz. Piacentini. 3 minutes to go. Rui Costa to Robiati. Inter with everybody back behind the ball. On by Baiano. It was a marvellous pass. Serena. Serena again. Robiati. A moment to savour them from Baiano.
Isn't it a wonderful little reverse pass in there?
Here's Amoruso. Rui Costa deserved a goal, that last move. Simply for the brilliance of the through pass from Baiano. Still Rui Costa trying to set something up again. Faced by a wall, a posse of Inter defenders. Finally away. Branca. Hintz. This is Paganin. Now Zanetti. And I would think now, looking back overall, Luther, that Inter will be happy enough with a point.
Oh, be more than happy with a point. I mean, on first half, you know, they battled through, and they probably had the best chances to have actually scored goals. But on the second half showing, there's only been one team in it.
Free kick to Inter. Batistuta was the culprit for his rugged challenge on Padroni. Now it's Zanetti. Marauding down the left side, but to no avail. Padalino. Padalino. Time almost running out now for Fiorentina.
This is where
it looks as if
Inter really should be working out to keep the ball in this half of the pitch, because they've been under so much pressure, and they've let them get out of it too easily again.
Well, it's looking as if they're going to drop points at home for the first time this season, Fiorentina. Unless they can snatch something here right at the last. Baiano hints to bring it away, but not too far. Robiati, Batistuta. He could be in here. Still Batistuta. An amazing miss by Batistuta. He cannot believe it.
I think we can say he's had a mixed day today. I mean, absolutely superb header, but and that's with the second chance he's had where he could have really sealed the game for him.
Well, that's two opportunities he's had now today that he would normally tuck away without giving it a second thought. Inter survive. Profligate finishing from, of all people, Gabriel Batistuta. And they'll be talking about that one long after this game has finished. We're into injury time. Fiorentina 1, Inter 1. Padalino. Now Karnashali. There will be some time to be added on, but not too much, I would think. Padalino. Here's Baiano. Supporting him is Piacentini. Now Stefan Schwartz. Rui Costa taking over. Showing his resilience too. Chipped on. Robiati can't get there, thanks to the attentions of Zanetti.
I mean, if you look at it there, I mean, the forwards are taking, you know, really strolling back when the defence are under an awful lot of pressure, and that's something Roy Hodgson's obviously got to get through them. They've got to now work for these last few minutes to help the defence out, obviously, because, I mean, they've got a point and you've got to try and keep it.
Schwartz with the header. Rui Costa shipping it forward for Batistuta, hoping to redeem himself. But of course it was his goal that brought his team back on level terms. Piacentini to Robiati. The run by Baiano, and that's Bergami to whack it away. Anywhere will do now. Adelino's back header. Carnashali. Only seconds to go. Amoruso, the home crowd urging their team forward. Stefan Schwartz. Swapping passes with Serena. Here's Serena again. And off Bergami for the corner. Serena trying to take it quickly. Batistuta in the middle and Baiano. There's not too many others up there in support. They're arriving now. Amoruso. Off the head of Festa for Robiati. Constant pressure now on the Inter goal. It's in the knowledge there, I presume, that there was another defender behind him. Piacentini to Rui Costa. The siege continues. Baiano! It just won't come.
It won't go. I mean, they really have created some chances in the second half, but nobody's been in a position to take them. Otherwise, I mean, this really could have been a comfortable win for them.
And the final whistle has been blown. Well, they've had chance after chance after chance in the second half, Fiorentina, but they failed to take them. Let's just look back quickly on the two goals that were scored in the game. Inter looking so composed in the first half, and this Luther, the goal that sprung them ahead.
Yeah, wasn't it a fine ball? And I mean, there was probably a hint of offside, but there's no doubt about the quality of that finish. I mean, the goalkeeper is 6'4" or whatever he is. I mean, there's just no way he was ever going to get that.
He's well out of position, isn't he?
He was, yeah. I mean, he was probably about 8 yards out at one time and ends up in the back of the net.
And such awareness shown by Maurizio Gantz, his first goal from open play in an Inter shirt.
Yeah. From whichever angle you see it, is a great goal, isn't it?
And then the equaliser, which you felt just had to come, and it was Batistuta.
That's right, yeah, coming in at the back post, because all day they've been at the near post and nobody's been attacking around the back, and he arrived late, up and far post. No way that was going to be stopped. Great goal. They've been, as I say, been threatening to do that for quite a while.
Let's hear now then from Paul Elliott with James Richardson.
Well, lucky escape there for Inter, really, Paul. I think for them you'd have to call it a game of two halves.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Inter totally dominated the first half, but the second half was superb, really. In all fairness, when they lost Roberto Carlos down the left-hand side, James, that really disjointed the shape. Pedroni come on, I thought he struggled. Thereafter, Inter gave the ball away, but Rui Costa, he was a catalyst to the revival. He was superb. His brilliance, his technique, his subtlety, his ability to see the killer ball, and obviously Batistuta was his finishing was quite superb too.
And again, it was Pedroni who was meant to be marking Batistuta during the goal.
Exactly, it was a cross from the left-hand side, and obviously Batistuta's pulled off on obviously probably the weaker defender, and you know, got the ball in with his head, and it was a super goal. And thereafter, you know, it was one-way traffic.
Right, very briefly, I mean, everyone's been talking about how much more character Inter have had under Hodgson, but it's quite worrying how they fell apart then in the second half.
Yeah, and it tells you how much, you know, they played well though, despite, I thought they still done well. They lost Rui Costa, Barras. Let's hope he's back very shortly, because he's a very, very important man for Inter.
Right, okay. And Paul Ince obviously had been suffering with a bad back.
Yeah.
Again, a fairly inconclusive performance from him.
Yeah, I mean, he got frustrated. I thought he worked hard in the first half, very industrious, worked hard to close people down. Second half, he got a little bit reckless, was giving away one or two free kicks, 1 or 2 fouls in the middle of the field, because he was just diving in instead of staying on his feet and shepherding them away from the goal. But I really feel at the end of the day, you know, Inter can take a lot from this.
Okay, well, they get a point from it, which may not be too much of a help to them in the standings. Anyway, let's get the rest of the final scores and standings with Peter.
Yes, the results just reaching me now. Cagliari have beaten Napoli by 2-0. Furicano and the Uruguayan O'Neill on his debut. In injury time too, that one. Cremonese have beaten Padova by 2-1. Aloisi, that was his first appearance in Serie A. And Maspero for Cremonese. Padova's reply from Gianpietro. Milan have beaten Piacenza by 3-0. Savicevic, Panucci and Maldini. Roma 2, Bari 1. That's Fonseca and Totti for Roma, and for Bari, Pedone right at the end. Sampdoria, they've beaten Udinese by 1-0. Mihailovic, again in the 89th minute. Torino have lost at home to Atalanta by 1-0. Fortunato got the winner there in the 25th minute. And Vicenza 1, Lazio 0. So defeat for Lazio this afternoon. Maini with the all-important goal 5 minutes before half-time. Parma, of course, playing Juventus tonight, but for the moment, let's take a check then on the top of the table. As it stands after this afternoon's games, Milan the leaders, clear now of Parma then by 3 points. Lazio joined on 19 by Fiorentina, and also Atalanta are out there in 5th place. Juventus and Napoli on 17, then come Roma and Vicenza on 16. That's it from myself, Peter Brackley, and Luther Blissett. It's all yours, James.
Thanks again, Peter. Well, Fiorentina, that's 4th now in the table. They still are not far off the pace. I mean, do they merit this position?
Well, James, I like their all-out attacking style. It's cavalier, but they're unpredictable. They'll win games, they'll lose games, they'll score goals, they'll give goals away. But it's super for the Italian game.
Right, OK, well, I hope you enjoyed yourself this afternoon, Paul. Thanks very much for joining
Always
us.
a pleasure. Buongiorno.
Excellent news.
Arrivederci.
OK, we will be back on Tuesday evening, of course, martedì sera, as Paul would put it, with, of course, Parma against Juventus and our Mezzanotte extravaganza around about midnight. Try and tune in for that. Then on Saturday morning, I'll be back on Pink and Perky and everything else with all the newspapers from the week, all the goals from the week, and probably some interview with a top Serie A star as well. Then on Sunday, Football Italia returns at 1:15 as ever with a very, very big match indeed. The leaders Milan visiting Lazio at the Stadio Olimpico down in Rome. Should be a crack of that. Join us for that. For now, though, we leave you, naturally enough, with the 2 goals.